What's up, folks? How's it going? This is Watch. Hope you guys are all doing well. And today we're going to be talking about replacing your smartphone with a smartwatch. Now, that might sound kind of crazy, but it's kind of an intuitive next step. Many years ago, people used to take their large desktop PCs and replace them with laptops. Now we're replacing laptops with tablets. And perhaps the next step is replacing your smartphone with something that you wear on your wrist. Now, whether that's a good or bad idea, we're going to explore it and see if that's truly a feasible option. And in doing so, we're going to take a look at the Rogbid Brave 4G smartwatch. Now, there are a number of different smartwatch manufacturers coming out of China that are creating these type of watches. This specifically has dual 8 megapixel cameras, one at the front and one on the sides, aka the Perv Cam. Now, both cameras can shoot 8 megapixel stills as well as HD video, and the front-facing side can actually be used to unlock your device using the built-in Face ID system, which actually works fairly well most of the time. And inside this tiny little package is a full MediaTek 6739 SoC comprised of a quad-core A53 ARM processor clocking about 1.25 gigahertz, 3 gigabytes of RAM, and 32 gigabytes of internal storage. Now, the funny thing is you can find a lot of these MediaTek system-on-chip processors in ultra-cheap Android smartphones out there. We're talking sub $100, and this is basically giving you the same capabilities and performance as those ultra cheap smartphones, but just in a super compact package. But this is still a smartwatch, and compared to modern day smartwatches, it definitely feels like a brick on your wrist compared to things like the Apple Watch. In fact, it weighs double of what the Apple Watch weighs, around 93 grams, and it's about 20 millimeters in terms of thickness. Now, luckily, the build quality isn't too bad. It is IP68 certified for dust and water resistance, so that means you can easily swim with the watch and get it fully submerged down to about 50 meters deep. The case itself has a scratch resistant ceramic coating. You also have a Gorilla Glass on the display. The display itself measures around 1.69 inches. It's a TFT IPS display with a native resolution of 450 by 450. The display quality is fairly good, very bright for outdoor usages as well as indoor, and the sharpness and overall color rendition is not too bad as well. In terms of the UI, it's using Google Android Wear, and the backbone is based off of Android 7. You can run pretty much any Google Android Wear application, as well as have access to pretty much the entire Android library, although you probably want to run stuff that's optimized for smartwatches specifically, but it's excellent for running Spotify and most of your other popular Google Wear OS apps. Now, in terms of the navigation and overall control interface, this is the area where most smartwatches are going to really struggle with, and probably its biggest downsides when you're trying to actually replace your smartphone, which has a huge display and a lot of surface real estate to take advantage of. And over here, we don't have a sleek digital crown interface like we have on the Apple Watch, which in my opinion has the best control interface on a smartwatch to this day. Everything is really done through either these buttons on the side, which are a home button and a back button, and most of your navigation and everything is done through this small capacitive touchscreen, which again doesn't allow you enough fine control, certainly for texting or typing in, and certainly is very finicky on this specific model. Now, this is a pre-production version, but no matter what they do to improve this overall interface, is never going to really compete with a larger display that you're going to find on a smartphone. Now, that being said, one of the big highlights of this thing is definitely the connectivity options. We not only have the option for full Wi-Fi connectivity in both 2.4 and 5 gigahertz frequencies, Bluetooth 4.0, GPS, we have a built-in microphone as well as a speaker, and at the back you even have a nano SIM connection. There's actually a little tool which allows you to take off the backplate and get access to that, so you can get full cell phone access to make phone calls as well as use the internet, everything that you would do on our traditional regular smartphone data connection. In terms of activity and health monitoring, the application that comes bundled with the watch is fairly rudimentary. It'll give you basic information in terms of how many steps you've taken throughout the day, like every other watch out there. But in terms of a serious accessory for training and running and things like that, the heart rate monitor is very unreliable based on my experience. The workout and exercise selection built into this thing is fairly rudimentary and kind of useless in my opinion. fine. And of course, there's no sleep tracking because you wouldn't want to sleep with such a large thing on your wrist in the first place. Furthermore, in terms of the battery life itself, we have a built-in 1360 milliamp hour battery inside, which is fairly large compared to most other smartwatches, but this thing can drain it super fast, especially if you have Bluetooth, GPS, 4G, and Wi-Fi on at the same time. Sometimes I got under 5 hours with a full battery charge, so it didn't last throughout the day. But if you're smart about it and turn things off when you don't need them, you can get it to go maybe 8 to 12 hours if you're lucky. But the nice thing is you do have this mobile charging pad that comes with the watch. It's 2200 milliamp hours, which should get you maybe 2 more charges. And the charging interface itself is a little clunky. It's basically relying on these 4 pins, and the alignment has to be just right. So you want to make sure that you have it aligned, or else you won't charge your watch. It'd be nice to have some sort of magnetic connection or even wireless charging capabilities like we find on other popular smartwatches. Now, all in all, the Rogbid Brave is definitely a unique and interesting item due to the fact that it has those dual cameras, which is kind of interesting, and you can technically make phone calls and use Wi-Fi and everything like that, browse the internet on it, so you could technically use it as a smartphone replacement, but I would probably not recommend doing so. But in terms of price point, it's definitely not too bad, definitely more affordable than the 4G counterparts from Samsung and Apple at around the mid $200 mark. So as a companion piece to your main smartphone, it's definitely not a bad device and very comparable to most of the Google Wear OS devices that you're going to find out there. But other than that, guys, that's really it. Please give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Check out the description down below for more details about everything we've talked about. And make sure you have post notifications turned on so you get our videos once they become available. Thanks again for watching. We'll see you later. Take care.